Vince is our example of that.
Story. That's what happened. I just started drinking a lot, hanging out of bowling alleys and bars, and had open mics for comedy. And I just went up there and started ranting.
Look at that!
Wow, all in one.
I love that.
Drinking and ranting at the bowling alley. That's the secret to
comedy
a
at the same
successful
time.
Comedy career.
No, but I've always been a performer. I studied acting in college, and I've always been a class clown. So it came naturally to me. And the next thing you know, I just bookers started seeing me, so I started playing the big clubs.
I've actually seen you live. You don't realize this, but I've actually seen you live at John Lovett's club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw one of your sets.
Oh, which show was that?
Oh, I don't remember. It was a little while ago, but it was funny.
Oh,
very
thanks,
funny.
man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it was. I don't know if I can repeat any of the jokes.
I like how you're trying to temper your. I like how you're trying to temper your funny. You were like, it was funny as funny.
Yeah. It was. There were some bits there. It was definitely a little edgy.
Thanks.
Do you guys like edgy comedy? Where do you guys like to go with your comedy?
I try to just be myself on stage. It's my natural personality is to take that on stage with me.
Do you guys ever talk about using or drinking or whatever when you're
They can't. People listening on the radio cannot see you shaking your head. By the way.
I just don't want to cut.
He's still doing his Reebok
commercial. I have entire CDs dedicated to specific stuff. Right. I'm actually working on the four alcoholics and why you can't date them all. I have a CD.
Well, I got to hear this.
I have a CD coming out called Women of Sober Living. It's hot. I'm even gonna voice over the trailer.
It's Girls Gone Sober.
8 women, 66 personalities, 1 car,
3 teeth.
And the number here is 877-830-830. That's 877-830-830.
And we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in a few minutes with some more comedy and some great input musically from Bob Forrest.
Sing us out, Bob.
There's the bird song.
Bird is a word, bird is a word.
All right, welcome back to Clean Radio. We got a great bunch of guests in the studio tonight. Boy, I think we've never had this much controversy.
Fun.
And fun,
yeah.
Right? We got Vince Royale, great comedian, Pat Leborio, another great comedian, and Bob Forrest from VH1 Celebrity Rehab.
Famous Bob Forrest.
Are you getting sick of that yet?
It's weird. I don't know. Why is there controversy? Because of what we're saying about the 12 stuff?
I was talking about you being Celebrity Rehab Bob Forrest.
It's better than Rehab Bob Forrest.
Rehab Bob Forrest, yeah. So,
the number here.
877
830 830.
I got a question.
Yes, Bob.
This is a serious question.
Okay.
Because I believe in productivity and doing productive things, and we talked about this at dinner too. And the thing is, I believe it's very important not to just sit around sober living worrying about your recovery.
Absolutely.
Like, I believe you need to be active, involved. You need to have a disposable day gig, like
No
a
question.
humbling job to get yourself out and about and go do your things in the rebuilding of your life. And I wash dishes, right? What did you guys do? What did you do when you first got
I
sober?
licked envelopes in my sponsor's office.
There you go.
He ran an advertising agency, and I had to send out about 500, 600 pamphlets to different medical facilities, and I licked every
There you go.
envelope.
That's a very humiliating job. What did you do when you got sober?
I was a parking attendant.
There you go. That's a humiliating job.
Sitting by myself in a glass room smaller than my jail cell. So probably picked the wrong get well job, but
no, but I seriously think there's every person I know who has long-term sobriety had a job that was instrumental in the beginning of their sobriety.
Absolutely, you got to stay active.
And nowadays people are told just focus on your recovery. I don't even know what that means. What are you supposed to do? To sit around and think I'm recovering?
Well, here's my question: is that also a societal thing? Because I think a lot of if you say to a 16-year-old kid these days, flip burgers for your first job,
they can't get the job for one thing. You know what I mean? These are all jobs that nobody wants that we just did.
Right. I mean, I was a Sub-Zero. I was a Sub-Zero.
Andrew, what'd you do?
Andrew ran a company.
I ran a company, yeah.
What did you do?
Man, it's embarrassing, but I worked, I don't know if I could even say it.
You were a fluffer?
No, I worked for Mickey Mouse. There
you go.
There you go. Disneyland tickets.
Oh, great.
There you go.
You're right, though. It's a very good point.
There's a level of humility in usually this beginning stages of rebuilding your life that I think is very important.
Yeah.
And when people don't have that, like I'll give you an example. I was in Cry Help. They told you got to have a workout, you got to have a job. I was a musician. I said, oh, I'm a musician. They said, oh, that's not good. You got to get a regular job. I said, BS. You said you got to have a job. I'm a musician. I'm working on songs, whatever. So I played a gig, and got the money because you had to have a certain amount of money in order to graduate. And I played a show at McCabe's and put the money in the bank account, and then I graduated. It was BS. The point being, you need to do something every day, productive with your day. You have 16 hours.
Pat, what made you decide to get sober?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die. I mean, it was literally that drastic.
That's a good reason.
I thought I was going to die. Now, I didn't get sober like many of the people that I've helped through the, step work. I don't think I got sober for the right reason. I got sober to save my career. I mean, I got dropped by all my management, lost every deal I had. I got fired from a movie set that I won't mention. So I actually tried to get sober to get a career back, and very quickly, because I think I was in it aggressively to get better. It didn't take me long to realize that I was doing this just to live, literally.
It was mostly drugs or alcohol or a combination?
It started out, actually, it was a lot of cocaine.
Really?
I'm the biggest cokehead you'll ever meet in your life. I don't know. I did meth and gained weight. So I don't know what sick, twisted joke God played on me.
Right?
I look like the Hawaiian version of Fred Flintstone, and the speed did not help. Right. But no, it started out with a lot of coke, a lot of speed, until about my mid-20s, ironically, and then I thought, oh, I'm never going to do that again. I'm just going to drink, and then it got worse, actually, just from drinking from my early 20s till I got sober at 32.
How did you get exposed to it at first? Was it just around your friends, or?
Pretty much, yeah, the same way everybody does. It was in high school, it was early, like probably my freshman year in high school when I started drinking a little bit. I was a great student. I was a star athlete, actually. I mean, it's hard to believe now. So I had right angles on my body at this time. I was a huge football recruit, baseball recruit.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was projected to go real high in the baseball draft. And also football, I was getting letters from every school in the country. But the drinking actually, right towards the tail end of high school, that's when it started to progress into cocaine and crystal meth, and it got worse and worse, and eventually.
Do you think that was kind of self-destructive on your part on purpose, or did you just get sucked into it? Did you recognize you were losing these things?
What's really funny? Because. And I'm just gonna call it my sponsor. I know we're secretists. So if you want to win, Pat, you got to hang around the winners.
Right.
And I believe that in life. It's people like, and I can't judge it for everybody, but for people like me, I need to be surrounded by winners, and I wasn't. I was surrounded by people just doing the bad things, and I got sucked into it. It started with just a little bit of coke, a little bit of speed. It progressed. I was able to actually get away from that later on, but yeah, it was pretty much hanging around the wrong people, pretty much for me.
I've seen quite a bit of your comedy, and you're just one of the funniest guys that I've seen out there. And a lot of it though doesn't seem to be drug influence. It seems to be just genuine comedy. You've cracked a few jokes about drug use, but did it change your perception? Did you have any sort of ideas that like drugs and alcohol would make you a better comic, or did you fall into any of those ideas? Or?
That you mean that drugs would make that?
Well, like Richard Pryor or
John Belushi.
I'm going to tell you right now, when I don't think I ever went on stage. Bob and I backstage were talking about the Comedy Store, and I don't think I went up at the Comedy Store one night ever sober. I don't think I ever went up one night sober, and I did comedy every night. Right. I mean, I was blasted every night, And when I first got sober, it took me 3 or 4 months just to. It was like when Maverick spun out and he didn't know if he could fly the plane again. It was that dramatic in my head. I didn't know if I could do it. So
did it change the way you did comedy?
Actually, it did. It changed a lot of things. I think my stage presence got a little bit. I was really a machine gun delivery type of comic. I learned to slow down a little, and just became a lot more conscious in the preparation area. I was a lot more prepared, but it took a while.
What do you do? Here's the thing that I didn't play music for about 2 years after I got sober. I was scared, and I thought I'd put it behind me. It's part of my past. It's a part of drugs, but then I returned to it. And one of the problems for me was after you get done playing, I remember the first time I played sober was at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Like at 12 o'clock at night, I was driving home, and that emptiness and that weirdness, and like everybody's going to have fun, and you're going home to do what?
Right.
Like be sober?
Yeah, exactly.
It really, you know, and I had to figure out what am I going to do after the shows?
Right.
You know, because the tendency is to go party afterwards. Like that's what you're describing.
Yep.
If you're going to be sober, what are you going to do after the shows? And I always go grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping.
Yes, because
nobody's
nobody's
there.
there.
For sobriety is Ralph's supermarket.
Yeah, that's it right there.
No, it's because you have cash,
I love it.
and you usually, I don't know if you grocery shop, you don't buy all the things you want because you can't afford it or whatever. Now you got cash, and it's the thing I do after I play, and I just load up a shopping cart full of stuff, and it takes about an hour to load it all into the house. It's a little thing of what you're gonna do. Come on, Andrew. You're not
We were
entertainment.
talking about this. We were talking about this either last week or the week before. But it's I always used to wonder, like, you know, like Dwight Gooden. He was supposedly sober at the time. Like after he pitched his no-hitter, what do you do that night?
Yeah, what do you do?
What do you do that night? Like
If
that's
for
got to be.
decades you've gone out and done coke and drank. So what did you do after your first comedy set sober?
Wow, you know, that was so funny. I actually talked about this on stage. You know, I said, you know, fun revolved around alcohol in my life, like the TV. Like, how do you put the furniture in the living room if you don't have a TV? You know, what am I gonna do? What's my life gonna center around? I have no more alcohol. It's like, well, how am I gonna ask a girl out? Hey, you want to go over some tea? You know, what do you do? You want to go over some pie?
That was really hard for me. That was the hardest thing for me.
I had to learn how to have fun again. I had to learn new things that were exciting, edgy, that were exciting. I had to learn it because I didn't know. And just hanging around other people that had some time, and just things I never thought I would do. I mean, mountain climbing, really? I mean, me mountain climb? I mean, no way, you know? I mean, the mountain was laughing at me. You know? Just outdoor things, going to music festivals.
Yeah.
Never did those things before. Going to the beach a lot. Just hanging out with other people that weren't drinking or using.
I'm always amazed how people when they get sober, and especially, you know, I run a treatment center, so I see a lot of people that are really coming in at their darkest time, and progressively over time they get their life back, and they start doing things that they never thought they would do, like climb a mountain,
Skydive in my case.
You did skydiving.
I did skydiving.
That might be more dangerous than the drinking.
And I'm scared of heights. But I wanted to do it. It was something I wanted to do.
Right,
and I grocery shop.
And he grocery shop.
Bob, which is scary. But
you know, when I
see how skinny Bob is, you know he's not good at it.
But when I lived in Israel for 2.5 years, and people used to say to me, "Hey, did you go here? Did you go there?" And I was like, "Why? I could drink in Jerusalem."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I was like, that's drinking money. I mean, everything revolved in my life around the money I didn't have or had to drink. So for me, like a bus ticket was like a quart of beer, you know? Like that's literally how so even when I got sober, having money in my pocket, I had a hard time spending it. I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts, and for like at least the first year, every time I would go somewhere, I'd say,
don't want to spend that.
I don't want to spend that. Like, I'd be like, I'd have a fear in me. Like, I'll never forget the freedom I had when I actually bought a cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and I didn't think about anything else other than the coffee.
Obviously, you've gotten over your coffee buying problem.
Yes, thank God.